Hi everyone, welcome to my podcast, The Knitting Equestrian Nomad. I'm not sure what episode this is actually. It's either 10 or maybe 11. Anyway, once I post this I'll have the correct episode number. So welcome, and if you are a returning listener, thank you and welcome back. So I really appreciate that. My name is Corrina, and I live in Northwest Washington with my partner and our two kitties and my two horses, Odin and Braggy, the Mustangs. Mustangs that I adopted from the Bureau of Land Management Wild Horse Adoption Program. I'll have a link for that in in the description box, along with some other resources, including podcasts that inspire me for knitting and gardening and horsemanship, because those are my primary activities outside of my non-working primary activities. I hurt my back yesterday, so speaking of non-working activities, I decided to go for a bike ride yesterday because I would like to go for a bike ride with a good friend of mine who is quite an avid bicyclist. And we kind of tentatively set a date for a couple weeks from now. So I thought, well, I'll just get in a few easy rides and be a little bit more prepared than I would be if I hadn't ridden at all. I used to be an avid cyclist, used to commute to work and ride the bus back, or sometimes ride my bike both ways. It could be anywhere from 20 miles one way or 15, or sometimes I'd park between here and there and, ride 10 miles or maybe 5 miles. Just really to get out in the fresh air and enjoy the elements and, get in a nice bike ride before and after work. So anyway, yesterday, how I hurt my back, it wasn't really the cycling so much. I mean, I took it easy. I picked a fairly level route and took my time. It was hoisting my bike over the fence rather than going through the gate. Now, why would I do that? I think the easy answer is I was feeling lazy and didn't want to open the gate, which is completely ridiculous because it takes a lot of effort to hoist your bike over a 4.5-foot fence. So, word to the wise, don't do that. So I am sitting here with an ice pack on my back, and about the 20-minute mark, I will take off the ice pack. So that's been my strategy, is taking a lot of ibuprofen and icing. So if you haven't gathered it already, this podcast is about primarily my knitting and my horsemanship, although I will throw in some cooking if I have had some particularly inspirational cooking projects going on, and also gardening, because I do like to garden, and I'll have some stuff to report on that. So usually the way I start, I show a finished object, and because I'm a little bit handicapped, I'm just going to pick this right here. So this is an Afghan I crocheted for my now late mother-in-law. So it's out of a nice cotton yarn, and it's kind of got this neat pattern. So I made it for her when she was getting old and and we thought that she might be spending a lot of time in her bed or in her chair, so I made this Afghan to hopefully comfort her. And then when she passed away, I reclaimed it. So anyway, that's the Afghan. It was a lot of fun to make. I really enjoyed it. The yarn is very soft, very nice, and we use it on our sofa on cold days. So that's my finished object. I'm just going to point out the painting behind me. My sister did that. It's called Tiny Dancer. It's an oil painting of a chair in front of a hearth, and there's this little music box ballerina on the hearth, and the tiny dancer was our grandmother's. So I want to point that out. And then behind me on this shoulder are some of my cooking inspiration. These are my cookbooks. I love America Test Kitchen. I love The Joy of Cooking. I have a vegetarian cookbook by Bittman, and which I don't use very much. And then I also have an Indian cookbook here, which I don't use very much either, but you know, it's kind of nice to get some inspiration for using different vegetables or spices. So I really hoped that I would have a finished object for you by now. I am still scooting along on my projects. So, but I've made progress. So this here is, I'm gonna make sure I show you the correct side. This is the right side. This is a shawl. This is for a knit along. It's a puzzle knit along, and this is hosted by Sophia Camaborn of the Camabordia podcast. So it's made up of a lot of, you know, kind of moss stitch and lace stitch. It's been a lot of fun to knit, and I'm getting toward the end of it. So we got the final, those of us participating got the final puzzle piece this morning, and there's only 8 more rows after for that particular puzzle piece. So I think I'm working on section 4 right now, which has 15 rows, and I have about 8 rows left, I think. I'm about to change color, so yeah, no, 7 rows left, and then the final 8 rows, and then the bind off. So the yarns I'm using, the pattern calls for a DK weight, so I'm using a Malabrigo yarn, and then that's this variegated yarn that's very pretty, and then these 2 yarns are made by they're discontinued because I love a good sale. These are Yorkshire spinners, so the Bo Peep. So even though there's only, you know, like 15 rows left, I'm probably gonna make it bigger because I have quite a lot of this yet, which surprised me. It was supposed to take 200 grams of DK weight yarn, so each of these balls were 50, and then this was 100, but I have a lot left. So I'll probably just continue this until at least these are done, and then I don't know, this will go in my leftover. So let's see if I can show this. Really pretty. I'm having a hard, and there we go. You can see kind of the orange flecks. Really pretty. So that's been a lot of fun. It's a puzzle knit because those of us who are following along with this, you know, we got to see the finished project. And she released the pattern in sections. So that's been a lot of fun. Okay, in this bag my mom made for me because she's a fabulous quilter. I am knitting these. This is kind of my Zoom knitting. This is a sock. So I don't have as many Zoom meetings as I would like, I guess. Well, that's not true. So I'm still working on the foot part, and then I think I have about another 10 to 15 rows before I start on the toe, sorry, and then I'll get to do the finished part. And I made the heel I made the cuff and the heel in a different type of yarn, color of yarn, brand of yarn. No, same brand. Here are the 2 skeins of yarn. So I thought those would go well together. So I don't know. The striped yarn is really fun. I'm really enjoying this. I hope I get to wear this. I hope I finish these before summer is out, which who knows? At this rate, I could be wearing them for next summer. Speaking of summer knitting projects, so I'm getting a lot closer on the Adeline tee. So I finished the front and the back, and I've had to add some side panels because I used a different yarn, And even though I knitted a gauge swatch, I apparently did not follow the instructions correctly enough. So I'm knitting these pieces to kind of join them, make it a little bit bigger. So, yeah, this is going to be, I just want this to be pretty loose and airy and comfortable. But here's the front. So kind of this pretty lace. And the color is kind of a lavender and white variegated. It's the Japanese Noro yarn. Here's what I have left of this ball. And I have at least 2 more skeins of this. So here's the label, the Noro. This is 41% viscose, which apparently is a wood product, and then 35% cotton, so it's a really nice, soft. Looking forward to wearing it. Again, I hope to finish this before summer is out, so we'll see. So I pretty much have all of this side to connect, and then the sleeves. The sleeves are short, so that won't take very long. And if it's extra loose and sloppy, that's totally fine with me. It'll be nice and airy for summer. And again, this is the Adeline. It's a Barocco pattern that looks like that. All right. So far this has only taken me 2 skeins of yarn, and these, let's see, these skeins of yarn are 100 grams each. So each 100 gram is 360 meters. So it's not too bad. And then the other work in progress that I've been continuing are my songbird mittens, and I'm getting really close to finishing one. So I had actually hoped to finish this one, and I'm working on the thumb. So here is the front. This is the left mitt. So you can see the front and the cuff and the little thummy. And then here's the back, so the songbird. So I really look forward to wearing these. I have a purple London Fog jacket that I wear in the fall. And then I also have a North Face rain jacket that's basically kind of this pink and gold color with maybe some purple in it. So yeah, I have, and this is a design by Erica Huser. So here it is here, and you can see the thumb has these kind of full leaves here, and let's see where I am. I am working on the 3rd leaf. So yeah, it's just enough for my hand. I generally wear, these are for a women's medium, and this is pretty snug fitting, so, which I think is good, actually. Hopefully my right hand will fit. My right hand's probably a little bit bigger because that's my dominant hand, but hopefully I will have those finished for winter. So I don't have any new yarn to show, but I just ordered some. So I ordered some from Knitterman. He's a independent yarn dyer, and I specifically asked if he was going to do any Halloween yarns, because I want to participate in the Bakery Bears Sockoween. And so he dyed some up in some colors that I really like, and I'm really looking forward to getting that. So next time I podcast, hopefully I will have that yarn, and I can share it with you. So if you're interested in Sockoween, check out the Bakery Bears podcast. I will have that link in the description box. So that's all I have for knitting, since I've been icing my back a lot lately, since yesterday. About this time, actually, I have been doing a lot of knitting in between icing. So my puzzle shawl has been getting a lot of attention. So gardening, I have started to harvest things. We're getting tomatoes. We have quite a lot of tomatoes, so I'm really excited about that. I just harvested a little zucchini. Yeah, it's really late this year, so I have friends from work who have their garden is a little bit ahead of mine, so I've been getting zucchini and beets from them. But I'm getting salad greens and arugula and some herbs, and now a zucchini and a few tomatoes. And we are harvesting blueberries too. So Randy picked about a quart of blueberries last week, and then again maybe half a quart yesterday. So those are so good. We have one variety that's a pink lemonade, and those are so tasty, and they're very pretty too, because they are that pink color. What else is going on horse-wise? So I've been doing some trail riding. That's been really fun. I had planned to go trail riding today, but again, I hurt my back, so that got canceled. So the boys get a day off. I made a video of me working with Odin in the round pen, using a bareback, just bareback pad, and we've been working on some cantering. So it's quite a long video. It's about 30 minutes, so I'm probably not going to, I want to add that video on to the end of this one, or I don't know, maybe I'll do a separate one. I'm not sure yet. I could do a separate one. I should watch it and narrate so that it makes sense. So there's some parts of it that I really speeded up. I put it on double time just because they're, me grooming and, putting the bareback pad on him and stuff like that. He does have trouble getting on the right lead. So horses have a strong side, a dominant side, and a non-dominant side, just like we do. So apparently, if Odin had hands, he'd be left-handed. So when he goes to pick up the right lead, which is going in the right direction, sometimes we call that right rein. I think that could be a British term. I'm not entirely sure. But when he tries to go in the right-hand direction, it's harder for him. So that's where you'll see him struggling a bit and me trying to get him to go, and eventually I get off and ask him to do it from the ground because, I think it's when he's learning, I think it's easier for him to do it from without me on him, because then he doesn't have to balance my weight as well. So I try to make it as easy as possible for him by staying light on his back when I can. It's harder when in a bareback pad because you are directly on their back. So in a saddle, I could stand up in the saddle a little bit to help to free up his back a little bit, but it's just fun to ride bareback sometimes. So that's what I did. This week, they are getting their winter heavy use area worked over. I've been working with the local county conservation district who's helping with, they have funding for small farmers who have needs to help their livestock and for healthy pastures and to mitigate mud, because mud is a big deal, and reduce any runoff that might get into any of the streams around here, because fish and shellfish and marine mammals are a big deal here in Washington State. So we spend a lot of time and money trying to reduce our impact on those. So I'm getting some financial assistance from the Conservation District, and the contractor's coming out on Thursday. So I'm super excited about that. I think that's all I have for this week, and it's almost time for me to take off take off the ice pack. So I think I'm just going to end this here and post it. So thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you gain some inspiration from this. And if you have any comments, feel free to comment in the comment box below. I will read them and respond. So see you next time. Bye. Okay, I'm going to attempt to narrate what's happening in this video. So I have double speeded this. When the video first started, you see Braggy coming up. So the horses are really good about coming up to me when I'm up front. They're very curious, want to know what I'm up to. And you can see that I've put Braggy's fly sheet on. He suffers from sweet itch in the summer, and the fly sheet really helps him. It's been a little hot, so he doesn't always get to wear it, but he seems to really enjoy wearing it. So I brought all the stuff. I put Odin in the round pen, and apparently I forgot something, so I went back to go get it. And this is on double speed right now, so if I wasn't doing the voiceover right now, you'd hear basically a chipmunk talking to the horses, and that chipmunk would be me. So, and Odin, of course, is helping out by checking out the stuff that I've left on the mounting block. And here I'm just getting him ready. And again, I think I have this in double time just so it's not quite as boring for you. Just trying to get all the dirt off so that when I put the saddle or the bareback pad on him, plus it's good for their skin. And you know, I try to get most of the dirt off so the dirt doesn't irritate his skin at all. One thing I want you to notice is that I'm doing all of this, getting him ready at Liberty, and he's standing still like he's supposed to, and accepting the bareback pad. I clipped out the part where I was picking his feet and, you know, doing all that stuff, but he's really good at standing still. So I like to encourage that. And here I'm just kind of asking him to I'm adjusting the girth on his bareback pad so it doesn't slide off or anything like that. And it's a little bit tricky trying to fit the buckle in, but you know, try to reduce any pieces of fabric that could be flapping around. I mean, not that it'd really bother him or anything. It's just kind of sloppy. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm just touching him all over with my stick and then asking him to move out. Just warming him up, keeping his fly mask on because the flies have been kind of awful this year. Even though I pick manure daily, twice daily, and cover my manure piles with black plastic, and I use fly predators too. So I've actually written to the fly predator company, which is Spalding Labs, and told them about it, see if they have any advice as far as what they would suggest. So, and here I'm asking Odin to change direction, and he does that very nicely. Again, we're just warming up, you know, kind of stretching his legs out a little bit, and just, oh, there he's trotting a little bit, so he's got a very nice jog. And I don't think I asked him to trot, so, which is why I allowed him to just walk. He did that on his own because he got kind of excited. So mostly I just want him to walk forward nicely, and I'm just checking to see if he's with me, if he's listening to me, if he's interested in participating in what I have in mind. And he's responding really well. I'm really happy with him. There I did ask him to trot, and I do want him to trot a little forward. That looks a little pokey to me in this video. So, and asking him to walk. So, you know, I try to do a fair amount of transitions. You know, there's no point in going round and round and round in a circle. So I've asked him to stop and then change directions again. It's been really dry, so you can see how dusty it is. And then just checking him out in the other direction. So this would be the left rein that I'm asking him to go on here. This side's a little bit easier for him. Horses have a dominant side and a non-dominant side, just like people do. I mean, I'm right-handed, but if Odin had hands, he would be left-handed. So that's his easier side. He's trotting around. He should be going a little bit faster than that. And apparently when I was on the ground, it seemed like it was fast enough, but looking at the video, it seems like he could be going faster, a little bit more forward. But there I asked him to transition back down to the walk.
Try a canter.
And ask him to trot again. So I try to change where I do the transitions so they're not always expecting to transition in the same part of the round pen. So again, he's on the left side. And there I'm asking him to go forward. And there he goes into the canter just like he's supposed to. And, you know, it's a small space, and mostly I just want him to accept the instruction to go into the canter, to do the canter, and then he can transition out of it. It was a hot day, so you know, I want to keep this fun for him too. But there I'm asking him to go in the trot again.
Canter.
And there he goes. He transitions very nicely into the canter on that side. And I won't repeat it too many times. Let him have a rest. And since this is not work we do very often, I just want to make sure he's with me on the ground before I get on him. And there we go in the other direction. And this is his harder side, so he may be showing a little bit more resistance there, but I'm just gonna, you know, keep just being persistent about asking. I mean, he's not in trouble for not doing what I ask. He's a pretty willing horse, so there he goes. So that was actually very nice, but I think it's harder for him on that side, so and there he goes. Yeah, it's definitely harder for him on that side. And there he goes again, and that he's got a very nice little canter. So I just want him to be committed to going, and then he can transition down when I ask him to. And I think that's why I keep asking, is because he's breaking into a trot before I'm asking. And there he wants to go the other way. It's easier for him. So. And then we struggle a little bit. He kind of gets himself trapped in that corner over there. But I'm going to keep asking him, and then when he does it, I'm going to allow him to stop. So, but he's kind of getting himself worked up a little bit, which It's not terrible, but it's certainly not ideal either. Taking a little walk break.
Good job, bud. Oh, you're so good.
And here I bridled him, and now I'm gonna get on.
Good boy. Good boy. Oh, he's so good. He's so good.
And he stands pretty nicely, and I give him a treat for that because I appreciate him standing nicely while I get on.
There you go.
And then we're just going to repeat some of the exercises that we did on the ground.
Put bones on you. There we go. Good boy. Okay, walk on.
Just checking out his walk. I have a stick in my hand. Sometimes I'll tap him with it if he's not really understanding that I want him to move his shoulder or his hindquarters. So I just use that for kind of as an arm extension to kind of help give him some clarity on what I'm asking. So it's definitely not to whack him with it. For bareback inspiration, I typically watch the Tao of Horsemanship videos. She uses a bareback pad a lot, and I think it's just really good for horse and rider to be able to do that. I'm doing it in the round pen, even though I would really trust Odin pretty much anywhere in a bareback pad. If he gets excited, he doesn't go very far for very long. I used to ride bareback really regularly when I was a kid.
Yeah, there you go. Nope, this way. There you go. Thank you.
And it's, I don't know, I just find it really enjoyable. And certainly the bareback pad is a lot lighter than a saddle. That's how I plan to start Braggy, is by putting the bareback pad on him. I have had the bareback pad just sitting on Braggy before. And I just want to interject, one of the things that I'm testing with Odin here is just asking him to stop. Can he stop? Can he back up? Those are two important things to check out with any horse. And if for some reason his backup wasn't good, that's what, we would divert from the planned lesson and, work on what is needed. So, but he has a good stop and a good backup. And, apparently the saddle pad or the bareback pad is a little crooked because I'm readjusting.
Good job, buddy.
And one thing I want to make sure is that I'm kind of sitting back on my pockets. The Tao of Horsemanship, Carolyn has a good explanation of what that's supposed to look like and feel like. And so I've asked him to trot, and he tripped.
Good
So,
job, buddy.
try to keep myself balanced when he does that. And he has a very nice jog, and I try not to slam down on his back or anything. Just sit
You
really
are
nicely
super
and
good.
loosely and just
Yes.
go with him, go with the motion.
Wow. Good job. Good job. Go. Yep. Nice.
Change direction.
Good job.
Stick in my other hand, so it's good practice. You know, I talked about having a dominant hand. It's good practice to be able to use the stick effectively in the non-dominant hand. So, and then it's also good training practice to be able to help your horse. And trot on that side. So again, just making sure that we're in agreement with what we're doing and where we're going before I ask him to canter, which is going to be harder for him. And when I do ask him to canter, I'm going to ask him to canter on his left side first, because that'll be easier for him. So one of the goals is to just hopefully make things easier for him, so that it's a win. It's an easy win for him.
Good job. Welcome. Very good. Good work. Right here. Now you're ready to be done. Change direction. Not so good. I know, we gotta practice that. Hey, Rot.
And I'm gonna ask him to trot and then transition from the trot to the canter.
Canter.
It's a more advanced move to be able to, so there he goes, good boy. It's definitely a more advanced move to start cantering from either the walk or even the standstill. Neither one of us are ready to do that, so super proud of him for picking up the canter. So, you know, again, I just ask him to do it for a few steps, and
I
then
know, you're ready to be done. I know.
I think I'm going to ask him again, just so that we're clear on. Yep, I am going to ask him to go in that left direction.
Canter.
I'm kind of pushing with my seat. I'm also grabbing a little mane just so I don't lose my balance and then accidentally whack him in the mouth.
Thank
So,
you. Yeah, that's hard for me
yeah,
too.
he did what I asked, so gonna let him walk. Sometimes walking is a good time for me to gather myself back together if I got a little unbalanced or something like that. Like I said, I haven't ridden bareback with any regularity and since I was a kid, so and cantering is a little bit more of a balancing act, so I want to practice before I completely let go of the mane.
Practice that turn. Okay, here you go. Nope. Go on. Okay. Thank you.
Change direction. So I'm definitely aware that this is his harder side.
Good job.
So we're gonna just start off with a little trot.
Okay, this
And
is
that should be fine. A trot is a 2-beat gait, so opposite front and hind strike the ground at the same time. Diagonal pairs, and then I'm trying to get him to go. I'm trying to even push him with my seat, but he's having a hard time, so he's just speeding up right now.
All right.
So let him
work.
gather himself to, I know he's not resisting on purpose, just based on the groundwork we did. I know that this is hard for him, so I want to give him another chance. I'm really trying to like kind of push with my seat as much as I can.
Yep, keep going.
That doesn't seem to be helping him.
Okay, we need bend, don't we? We need bend. Canter! Come on, canter! That's almost. Canter! Man trap. Okay.
The other thing is I don't want to wear myself out either, because that's not necessarily a positive. Especially if I can explain it better from the ground.
And good job.
So
Okay.
this is where I'm going to get off, and I'm just telling him I'm going to explain it to him from the ground. And I'm going to take his bridle off.
Yeah, because you're a good boy. You're a good boy, but that side's hard for you, I can tell. I can tell. Okay.
Just so he's not running around.
So, let's,
With the reins flapping around.
yeah, you a good boy. Ready? Okay.
There, I got him going around in a circle again, just like we started with. And trotting. There he goes.
Good job.
So definitely easier for him when I'm not on him. Part of it could be the way that I'm asking. So that's just something that we're going to have to practice. And that was certainly my intention to practice that yesterday, but I hurt my back lifting my bicycle over a fence. So Odin got the day off yesterday, and we were going to go trail riding today, and he gets the day off from that too. So I'm sure he doesn't mind a bit.
Okay, I know you know how to do it, but that side's definitely harder, isn't it? Yeah. Good job. Good job.
And there, I'm pretty happy with his efforts, so I am just going to let him stop here. So I'm going to take off his saddle pad and tell him what a good boy he was, and hopefully he'll have a nice roll. So that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it.